I was gonna make a skit about this guy that came in this past Saturday night that by the end of the night, I really wanted to punch him. I started writing the skit out, and then I realized that I'd have to be like 6 different male characters, and I didn't even bring that many hats and shirts. So I'm just gonna tell the story. So this guy comes up to the bar at 1:51. Okay, he has already annoyed me throughout the night before this. But he comes up and he's like, hey, I wanna get a course banquet for this guy next to him, who he just met, and for me. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I hand him the 2 course banquets and I'm like, do you have a tab? And he said, no, I already closed out. I said, okay, well, that's gonna be $10. And then he starts to get his wallet out. And then he looks at the guy and the guy's friend. He goes, do you guys wanna do a shot? The one guy that was drinking the course banquet was like, yes, I'll do a shot with you. The other guy was like, no, 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 not for me, not for me. He was like, come on, man, yeah, you can do a shot, you can do it. And the guy was like, no, thanks. Appreciate it though. And then he looks at me and he said, do not make me a shot. And he starts pressuring, like giving him more crap about not doing a shot. He was like, yeah, you're gonna do a shot. I looked at him and I said, stop trying to pressure people to drink when he just said he was good, okay? He was like, oh, sorry. So then he looks down the bar and he sees these 2 guys and he's like, hey, you guys wanna do a shot? And they're like, yeah, sure, sure. And he looks at me and he's like, hey, can you go find out what those guys want? And I'm like, yeah. So I go over there and I'm like, what shot do you guys want to do? And they said, buttery nipples. I said, buttery nipples. Then the guy hears them say that and he said, oh, no, no, no. I said, okay, so what do you want? And he said, and he starts, I was like, focus. It's 1:55 at this point. So he has 5 minutes to get it together. Otherwise I can't make these shots. So he's like, oh, Jaeger bombs. And I'm like, okay. So I look at those guys and I'm like, do you guys want Jaeger bombs? And they're like, no, we really want, can you please make us buttery nipples? And I'm like, cool. So 2 buttery nipples and 2 Jaeger bombs. That's what I'm hearing. And he was like, oh no, I'm not paying for buttery nipples. So then I look at the other guys and I'm like, hey, he doesn't want to buy it if you guys are going to be drinking buttery nipples. They're like, oh, really? Oh. And I'm like, yeah, so you can either do Jaeger bombs with him or you guys can get buttery nipples and pay for them yourself. What do you want to do? And they were like, well, I guess we'll do Jaeger bombs. So I make the 4 Jaeger bombs. Okay, it's 1:58 at this point because this is how long it was taking. After I handed out the Jaeger bombs, I look at him and I'm like, okay, let me close you out. And he goes, oh, no, I don't want to pay for their Jaeger bombs. You what? You're gonna. Because you just called them over here to take a shot with you. Okay, anyway, give me your card? He was like, no, I don't want to pay for their Jaeger bombs. I said, listen, dude, you have wasted so much of my time. It should not have taken me 8 minutes to make 4 shots and 2 beers that I popped open. This is ridiculous. I have stuff to do. Give me your card. He was like, oh, no. So he gives me his card and I close him out for the 4 Jaeger bombs and the 2 course banquets. This is the end of this part of that story. I'm going to do skits. I can make like a couple of skits out of this guy because anyway,